podcast. My name is Ro Thompson. Man, I got a special guest in the building. I've been following this young lady probably for the last 2 or 3 years, and just kind of talking back and forth to her dad. And we had a chance to actually see each other at the memorial in Dublin, Ohio. It was a great tournament. Had a great time. And as soon as I got to the course, who do I see? I see Mia and Tom Hammond. So Mia and Tom, welcome to the podcast. How y'all doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great.
We're doing well.
Great. Well, listen, before we get into all of the golf stuff, Mia, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name's Mia Hammond. I am from New Albany, Ohio, and I'm an upcoming freshman at New Albany High School. And I've been playing golf pretty much my entire life.
Do you remember what age you started, Mia?
So I started hitting balls and practicing when I was around 3. I didn't take it that seriously until I was around 7. I started playing in tournaments then, and it's just taken off since.
Well, good. What other sports did you play?
When I was younger, I played softball, basketball, gymnastics for a while, and I think that's it.
Okay. And how did you fall in love with golf? I mean, what made golf stand out versus some of the other sports?
Yeah, my dad was always a really good player, and I always wanted to play with him when I was younger, and it's always been one of my biggest goals when I was little to beat him for the first time. So I think that pushed me a lot too.
Hey, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes, okay?
Okay.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. Now, Tom, I know you still got game because you're a teacher, so I know you got game. But so give us that start. Take us back when you first started playing, and I don't know if you can remember. Let's say take us to 7. You start playing. How do you feel? You think it's something that you would do up until this point?
Yeah, so I think what really pushed me was my first U.S. Kids local tour event. I didn't get a medal, and I was devastated. Like, I shot 63 on 9 holes, and it just crushed me. Like, I cried in the car on the way home, and from that point on, I just wanted to get better, all for that medal. And Right. When I won my first tournament in U.S. Kids, I think I was maybe 9. That was the biggest point in my golf game, so far. So it's really pushed me since then, and I've continued to improve and get better since.
Yes, you have, and we're gonna talk about that in a minute. So let me ask you this: what age did you feel like you were really playing at a high level as a junior?
Yeah, I want to say, my first big win was, what I consider to be my first big win was a U.S. Kids Regional, the Holiday Classic at PGA National in Florida. At that point, I kind of knew that I could really do something with my game if I applied myself. Right. It was kind of a starting point, and it really showed me that I can compete at a higher level.
That's good.
I think she was 10 at that
She was
point.
10?
9 or 10. I can't remember exactly.
Okay. Good. Now, Mia, your journey hasn't been the smoothest. You've had some challenges. How do you feel, maybe talk a little bit about the challenges and then talk about how you had to adjust to the challenges that you've had.
So it was maybe 2018. I started having this weird knee pain.
Okay.
On the side of my knee. Didn't take it too seriously at first, kind of put it off a bit, still played in tournaments, and it progressively got worse.
Uh-huh.
And the point when we knew it's something that's not to be taken lightly was it was at a world tournament in Las Vegas, the Sean Foley.
Okay.
And I had to drop out in the final round after I was leading. It was difficult to shift my weight to my left side, and I was kind of catching everything fat, and this last shot I hit it about maybe 40 feet, and I knew at that point I couldn't play anymore. Yeah. And
she was actually leading by 5 through 6 holes of the third and final round.
Wow.
And she just really couldn't even hardly walk anymore, and it was we got to pull her out. She was
had to shut it down.
Devastated.
Yeah.
And we had been to numerous doctors for the pain before, and no one could really tell us what was going on. It kept saying growing pains, she'll outgrow it, and it just kept getting worse. She would rest for 2 weeks and she'd be fine, and then a week later she'd be hurting again.
Right.
And finally, we decided to go to Children's Hospital, and that's when we found out what the real problem was.
But good. And talk about your adjustment in your like practice schedules. Are you able to practice every day, or do you have to kind of adjust it? Talk to us a little bit about your practice schedule.
So after my surgery in 2019, I had to take a break for a while. I think it was like 10 months before I was fully able to do everything again. But now there's not really any restrictions at all.
Okay. So I know that was torture. What was that 10 months like?
It felt like it was forever. It felt like it was 8 years instead of 10 months. It was never ending.
Yeah.
It was tough, bro.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, from a parent's perspective, I mean, for Mia, the biggest thing for me was just, after the surgery and after she was healed up, she just didn't have pain anymore. And that was the biggest thing for me. I mean, Beautiful. Golf has always been on the forefront for her, but we're probably a little different than most as far as practice schedules and tournament schedules. And we just don't do it as much as some of the other high level players.
Gotcha.
Part of that's by design. Part of it's by necessity because of her knees.
Right.
But I've always been a little concerned about just making sure that she always loves it and wants to play.
Mm-hmm.
I know I see a lot of juniors, and if they want to do that, that's great. And their parents want them to do that, that's great. But a lot of juniors play every week, and they plan tournaments every week, and that's great if that's what the child wants. Mia likes to hang out with her friends. She likes to go to the pool. She likes to, do fun things and even other things when we're traveling for golf. We try to make time for other things. So I think that's really important to me. It was as a child for me. I played a lot of traveling baseball, some golf as a child, but
yeah.
And I know how stressing that can be just on the limited amount that I played. So I, want to make sure that she gets to, be a kid too and have fun and spend time with her friends and all that. So we until this year, the most tournaments we ever did was 10 tournaments in a year.
Wow. That's really good.
This year, we're probably going to do about 15.
Okay. That's still good.
Just still not near what some others do.
Yeah. I can tell you, we do about 30 tournaments a year. So 10, 15 tournaments, that's really good on the body.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really good. So Mia, talk to us about your, what's your practice schedule? What's your practice schedule? What's your practice routine? When you go out to the course, what's your goal? How do you go about your business of preparing for tournaments?
So I wouldn't say I practice too often, but when I do practice, I take it more seriously and just try to get as much out of it as possible.
Okay.
I would say maybe 5 times a week I hit balls for like an hour, if even that.
Okay.
It's not too extreme. On the course for practice, I just want to make little improvements each time, just get the most out of it while I'm able to do it. I think my biggest focus right now is probably short game, which probably will never change. It's always been a little bit behind in my game.
Gotcha.
But
so that's the part of the game that you feel like you could actually improve the most.
Yeah,
short
definitely.
Game. And is that chipping or putting or both?
A little bit of both. More chipping than putting.
Okay, good. And what's your chipping practice routine? A lot of kids, they want to know how do you go about practicing your chipping?
So I try not to hit the same shot too often.
Okay.
I want to go from different distances, maybe hit one from, 10 yards and go back to 40 yards. Don't ever hit the same shot twice. It's really important to make sure you have every shot possible instead of maybe just being able to hit one shot. Right.
That's good. That's really good.
I'll add to that too, if you'd like me to, Real.
Yes.
We used a rule of 10, or rule of 12.
I love it. I've seen it on YouTube.
Yeah, that's what I teach as well. And one of the things we work on a lot of times is not so much what the ball does after the landing point, but in practice, when you use the rule of 12, all you really have to practice is learning how to hit different landing spots using different clubs. You don't worry about what it does after that. You worry about that when you're on the golf course. But in practice, you can do it in your yard. You can do it in your garage off a mat. If you use the rule of 12, you can practice it pretty much anywhere.
And Tom, it's amazing you mentioned the rule of 12. When I started using the rule of 12 myself, I had a chip that I needed to roll out a little bit, and I calculated it at two paces. Well, not really two paces, but two clubs. So I used a pitching wedge, and then man, it rolled up to the cup and went right in. So the rule of 12, for those that don't know, it's the real deal.
Yeah, really is.
Yes. So Mia, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about this DCP experience. You had an opportunity to go to the Masters Drive Chip and Putt. I saw you live on TV. Talk to us a little bit about that experience at the Augusta National Club.
Yeah, it was definitely one like no other. There's never going to be an experience that ever matches that. Like just the course in general was so amazing. Like when you stepped on the turf, it just didn't feel real. It didn't look real. Like nothing about it. It was just so much different than every other course I've ever been to. It was kind of funny. Like on the chipping green, they wouldn't even let you walk up on the green. Like you had to stay in your designated chipping spot. And
wow,
like they were pretty serious about it. But just the people and the crowds there, like it was something like no other, and I'll definitely never forget it. Just on the 18th green, like I don't think I actually realized in the moment how many people were there, and like at the end I just looked around and it was like, wow, like the whole hillside was full.
Yeah, wait till you get to the women's amateur. That's going to be a great experience for you too.
Yeah, definitely.
So who was the first person that you met when you got to Augusta National? The most famous person you met, per se?
I think Condoleezza Rice was the first person I actually got to meet on the last green. Actually, I take that back. I think Fred Couples was the first person. After we were on the practice range, he was just getting out of his car and he gave all of us a fist bump and told us good luck as we were walking the first stage of the competition. So that was pretty cool. And then Nancy Lopez presented the trophies. So
nice. Yeah. Fred has one of the smoothest swings ever.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he's got that swing. So what does it feel like to be the champion?
I watched it on TV for as long as I can remember, and like I think I'm still in the phase of it's like a little shocking. When I was little, I was like, I'm gonna make it this year, I'm gonna make it, and I missed it by 1 point when I was 9.
Wow.
And I swore to never do it again.
Right.
And she didn't until this year.
Because they canceled the year before that. So
yeah.
So she only tried one time, and she made it to the regional and lost at the regional at Muirfield Village by 1 point. And swore she'd never go back. And
where we were when we saw each other, right?
Yeah. I was able to talk her into it this previous year. And she
torture. But listen, that was great to watch you on TV. I said, "Dog, that's me and Tom, man. They're on TV." It's good to see, because I don't know if your dad told you. Your dad and I, we've been talking a lot, and he probably don't remember because he just helps everybody. About 2 years ago, I set John up a in-home sim, the SkyTrack, the net, the whole nine, and he has always helped me and didn't know me from a can of paint. So thank you, Tom. I really appreciate that.
No problem.
So Mia, what's your best round ever?
65 at Rock Barn in North Carolina. That was last summer, I believe.
Wow, that's going low.
Yeah.
That's going low. That's good. And what's in the bag? What you playing with? What give us all the secret, stuff that's in the bag.
It's a little bit of a mixture. So for driver, I'm playing the Ping G425 LST.
Okay.
For 3-wood is also the Ping G425. Hybrids, kind of old, tailor-made sliders. Putters, a Scotty Cameron Phantom. Irons, Srixon ZX7s, and wedges, Cleveland Zip Cores.
Good. Yeah, don't change those irons if you're playing good,
Yeah, I love them. They're my favorite.
Don't change them. Listen. And what kind of balls you play?
Titleist Pro V1s.
Pro V1s. Okay. Best ones that's out.
Yep.
Now what's the most ridiculous thing you have in your bag?
Um,
You have a
probably the
lucky
color.
ball marker or
I do have a lucky penny in my golf bag.
What about your Dwight Schrute?
Oh, and I have a Dwight Schrute ball marker from The Office.
okay. All right, good. So now let me ask you this. When did you start beating dad?
The first time I ever beat him was when I was 8. He did try to play me again last year, and I got him by 1. He had a 3-putt from 12 feet, so.
We were both going under, and I 3-putted from 12 feet. She got me.
It was funny. I hit my shot to like 60 feet, hit the putt 10 feet past. He was trash talking me, hit his 15 feet past. I made mine. He missed his.
Well, I did play the tips, and she played 2 tees up. So
that's all right. Yeah, I mean, hey, Tom, it's equitable. It's all equal, right? So that's great. That's great. And so Tom, let me talk to you for a second. What's the journey been like for you? Because as a parent, we kind of go through the same stuff. We probably handled all the registrations. We're at every tournament. We see the bad, we see the good. What's the journey been like for you and the family?
I'm a pretty candid guy. So I'm going to tell you the probably the ugliest part of it. And I think this is a thing that most parents experience.
Yeah.
It's really hard. I think parent, and as a parent, I feel it too. I think it's more stressful and harder on parents a lot of times than it is the kids. And I think it's hard for a parent to really keep that in check sometimes.
Right.
I think we've done a really good job of it. I see others that do a good job of it too, and some that don't. Right. Everybody has their moments, but always keep the love for your kids first. I think that's the biggest thing you have to realize, and realize that they never make mistakes on purpose. And Mia used to tell me that all the time. They never make mistakes on purpose. They're trying out there.
They are.
Obviously sometimes kids feel like putting more effort into it than other times. We all get tired. We all get worn out. Recognize those times. But the journey for me has just been a joy, watching her progress, watching her improve.
Beautiful. Watching
her become really a great young woman, a great young lady through the game of golf.
Right.
For all the lessons that it has taught her, the integrity, the humbleness. I mean, she's a great player. She's a plus 5.3 handicap.
Yeah, that's
You'll
great.
never hear her tell anyone that. I tell people that all the time because I'm proud as can be.
Bragging.
But you'll never hear her tell anyone that. You'll never hear her talk about her victories. From what we can find, she may be the first girl ever to win her first 2 AJGA events.
That's strong.
We haven't found anything to dispute that.
Right.
I mean, she's a great player, but first and foremost, the love has to come first. And I'm proud. I'm probably more proud of who she's become, than her play. She's a great student. She's just a wonderful daughter, loving, caring young lady, and I'm extremely proud of her. Very proud of her golf, but that's secondary to everything else. And I know her mother would say the same. So.
That's right. Well, good. So Mia, what's your, I know college is a little ways off, but what would you say would be your top 3 choices if you had to go to college anywhere?
I think my number 1 choice right now would be Arizona State. Okay. I got the chance to play with Olivia Mahaffey last year, and she told me a lot of great things about just the school in general and the coaches and the team. So that would definitely be number 1. 2 and 3 are about tied, either Stanford or Ohio State. I can't really decide if I want to go far or stay close to home. I still got a while to decide, so I'm sure it'll be something that's important to me in the future.
Right. I think Dad would probably rather you stay close,
there's been a lot of schools come watch her play already.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Quite a few. Yeah. Duke, Kentucky, Clemson. I mean, they've all came to watch. They watch her play the whole round when they come to watch. So
right.
It's been really cool. One time at this last AJGA, there were 5 coaches on the hole watching her at once. I mean, it's pretty remarkable at her age, the
Right.
attention that she's drawn. I know that a lot of others have too, but
Yeah.
I think it's a hard decision for these kids, man. I think, to me, and I'm just going to be very blunt here, I dislike the transfer portal, and I'll tell you why.
Right.
These colleges, I think it's being caused by the limited time that kids have to choose a college because of the new rules where they can't talk to the coaches or go for official visits until they're juniors in high school.
Right.
I think it really limits their time to really choose. And I think what happens is kid gets to school because they only took a few months to decide where they wanted to go because coaches were pushing them.
Right.
That's what coaches have to do at that point. They have to fill their roster, right? It's not the coach's fault. But what happens is the kids end up not fitting in or not liking, what they chose. And they maybe chose the wrong school. And then they end up in a transfer portal. I think it just pulls a kid in many directions. I understand not committing young, and I think they should dismiss that completely. I think there should be no commitment maybe before junior year, but not allowing official visits and talking to coaches, I think it's detrimental to the kid's future. I really do.
Right.
It's a hard thing. Really is. I have a lot of students, and a lot of them have went through this, and they, I talk to them a lot about, picking a college, and it's hard for them. They don't have enough time because as soon as here's a good example.
Right.
We were talking to one the other day. She got 30 calls within 2 days of the allowance of kids being able to, and she had all of a sudden she only had a couple of schools in mind, and then all of a sudden she's got all these other schools. Yeah. Now and then every coach wants a commitment right away because they have to fill their roster. I get it.
Can't do it that quick.
No, they're pressured to make a decision, and it's the hardest decision of a young boy or girl's life.
That's right.
I think that rule has to change. It's just my opinion, but
we have that coming up in June of next year. So John's he just finished his freshman year, going into his sophomore year. So it's a very, very important year for us. So we'll see how it goes.
Best of luck.
Thank you. We appreciate it. So Mia, last question, and we're gonna open it up for some Q&A from our live audience. What's your favorite course that you played before?
Zanesville Country Club for sure. It's where I played my first round of golf ever.
Wow.
Members there. How long were you a member there for?
17 years.
Yeah.
Oh. So, yeah. So that's your favorite course?
Oh yeah, for sure. I got to play in a tournament there the past 2 days, so it was good to be able to go home for a little bit and.
Yeah. And what course would you like to play one day?
Well, I hope Augusta National, if I ever get to go to the Augusta Women's, which I'm sure eventually will happen. And I also really want to play Pebble Beach.
Okay. Good. Yeah, those are some good courses. I had a chance to go down to the women's amateur this past year and saw some really, really good golf. Followed Amari Avery, Jensen Castle. Jensen is from Columbia. That's where I live. So had a chance to see her play. So some really good golfers out there, lady golfers.
Yep.
All right. Who's your favorite LPGA player?
Probably Nelly Corda.
Yeah, she's good.
Yep.
Yeah, she's really good. Her dad used to be a tennis pro. Yeah. Awesome. So how can our listeners get in touch with you, Mia?
So they can follow me on Instagram at mia.hammond.18. I also have a Facebook page just called Mia Hammond Golf. Both are pretty much the same. I would say the Facebook page is a little more active than the Instagram page. If you want to follow for tournaments. Typically I post bigger wins on Instagram and just all of them on Facebook. So great.
Yeah, we get those followers up, right?
Yep.
Right. All right. So we have maybe a couple people in our live audience. So let's see if we have any questions from our live audience. Millie, have any questions for Mia? Let's see if Millie has any questions. All right, Millie, can you unmute? You have any questions for Mia?
Actually, I'm Millie's father. Can you hear me?
Oh, hey, how you doing? Good
Yeah,
to have
Millie
you.
listening with me together. So
That's
thank you,
fine.
Mia and Tom. It's very helpful first. I think, yeah, Millie, she's now 11 years old. So I have a couple of questions, actually. I think the first question is that at which point, Mia, you decide you dedicate to golf? And what helped you make the decision? Because I think as a younger kid, they always have a lot of different choice, a lot of interesting or habit or things they want to do, right? Mm-hmm. So, and golf actually spend a lot of time. So at what point and what made you to believe that golf is a role you want to follow?
Yeah, I think it definitely started after I started winning just U.S. Kids Local Tour events. I improved pretty quickly. And I think I realized that at that point, it was something that I could make possibly a career out of and hopefully get a college scholarship with. I think once you get to a certain point, it's kind of something that you know. Obviously, it's important to compete at higher level events, definitely for colleges. It's always important to just have that in mind when starting.
I think he means when you chose to stop doing other sports.
Okay. I think probably the same point when I started winning maybe bigger events like the U.S. Kids Regional, the Holiday Classic. That was definitely, it kind of started it off just saying like, there's definitely something I can do with this. It'll go far for me in life. I was better at it than any other sport.
Right.
So.
Although she was very good at softball too. She was actually at 4 years old. She was a starting shortstop for an 8 and under team and was the MVP. So she was very athletic. Even
wow, that's impressive.
But she, I think, I can maybe answer this too. The biggest thing is softball and golf. She loved both. She loved basketball too, but it was never her. I mean, we're short people. I'm 5'8", she's 5'2". So basketball was never going to be her sport. She knew that. We knew that. It's great exercise, and if it wasn't for her knee, she may still be playing basketball. To be honest, wow. She didn't have bilateral knee surgery. But softball and golf just don't mix. The seasons are the same. Games and tournaments are on the weekends.
Yeah.
And it was a hard decision. She loved softball. She loved her teammates. She loved, coaches. But I think she made the right decision, obviously, at this point to stick with golf. And I believe that kids shouldn't specialize too young, but if they do find that passion and the ability, if they're really talented and gifted, there's nothing wrong with it as long as a child becomes well-rounded. Like Mia has other activities. She's into music, piano, clarinet. She even did singing for a while. Well-rounded. And I think that's the biggest thing. And also the athleticism to prevent injury is important as well. So Mia works pretty hard in the gym in order to maintain that athleticism. So because if you don't play other sports, you've got to maintain that athleticism or you will get injured. That's the bottom line. You got to keep strength up, and it's got to be equal strength on both antagonistic and antagonistic muscles have to be strong. You have to keep both sides of the body strong. The golf swing is very one-sided. So you're working one way. You got to work both sides of the body. You got to stay strong to prevent injury. And we've dealt with some of that. I mean, obviously with her knees, she had a little bit of a back issue that was just muscle spasms, but you got to stay strong. And everybody will deal with injury at some point, but you got to do all you can to prevent it. And I think that's the biggest thing about being an athlete, more than just a golfer.
Right.
Thank you. So that leads me to another question. Because golf is always like challenge yourself and probably trying to be better by yourself. So it's kind of a lonely sport compared to others, right? So do you? I think probably a question for John. For Tom? Do you try to find a playmate for Mia, or do you try to find another golf friends for her? Because I think as the kid grow up, I think it's kind of difficult to just be alone. Or are you the only person as a father play with your daughter all together?
That is an excellent question, and it's something that we dealt with a couple of years ago. So when Mia was growing up, she mentioned we were members at Zanesville Country Club. That's where we lived. It's an hour from here, where we live now here in New Albany. And growing up there, she really didn't have anyone to play with. I mean, she had literally, when she was 8, 9, 10 years old, she was playing with the golf pros at Zanesville Country Club. That was her playing mates. And as much as she loves them, it's not the same as playing with, peers of your own age. Now she had some kids there that she played with very occasionally. Every couple of weeks they had a junior program that she got, but there was no competition for her. The level of competition just wasn't, where it should have been to help her improve her game. As much as she really enjoyed playing with those children, it just wasn't the same as playing in tournaments. So we made a tough decision. My wife I can work anywhere because I work from home and I teach at home. So the opportunity for my wife to transfer positions to Columbus was an opportunity that we decided to take advantage of, and that'll put us into an area now where the high school that she's about to start in is quite arguably the #1 girls golf program in the country.
Wow.
They've won the Ohio State Championship 4 years in a row. We leave tonight for the national championship, which I'm sure they're the favorite to win.
Yeah.
So for the last 2.5 years, she's been playing golf with those girls from the high school team that are all scratch players, 2 D1 commits, and they play golf every week. And during the pandemic, every day, pretty much it seemed like, which made a huge difference for Mia because she was very lonely on the golf course. I mean, who wants to play golf with their dad every day or with 40-year-old golf professional? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it made a big difference in just her outlook of the game. She's been able to develop some great friendships. And living in Columbus, we have a lot of great girls talent outside the school system where she's played tournament golf with for years that she's now become very close to and plays golf with on a regular basis. So it's been the best thing we ever did was getting her involved with other kids that play golf, that enjoy the game, and just letting them play for fun. It can't all be about competition and practice. And that's been a big thing for her, for sure.
That's good. Well, listen, I know we're up against some time constraints, Tom and Mia. We want to thank you all for being on the podcast. Any final thoughts, Mia, that you want to leave for some of our up and coming juniors that'll get a chance to listen to the podcast?
Yeah, maybe some advice for some younger players is just don't forget to have fun with it. Like he had said before, it's important to have something else outside of competition and just strict practice. It's always important to just enjoy your time with it. Because again, like you said earlier as well, injury always happens and you never know when it can be taken away from you.
Right.
So make sure you enjoy it as long as you can.
Awesome. Well, listen, from the Junior Golf Podcast family, Mia, Tom, we want to thank y'all for taking some time out. Good luck in your tournament, Mia.
Thank you so much.
Stay steady, be patient, and do your best, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ro.
Thank you, Tom. Thank y'all. Appreciate you.